USF students prepare for a second theater production of the year. Speaker Kirk Bloodsworth shares his testimony about his time spent on death row, and social work students come back from a trip to New York. All this and more coming up next on College Week.
Live from the Jeske Fine Arts Center on the campus of the University of Sioux Falls, this is College Week. With Aaron Heinert, Stephanie Chmielewski, and Sports with Michelle Jacobs.
Good morning, I'm Aaron Heinert.
And I'm Stephanie Chmielewski. Thanks for joining us. Kirk Bloodsworth presented his story this past Wednesday at USF. Bloodsworth was the first inmate on death row to be acquitted and exonerated by post-conviction DNA testing.
People that knew me obviously knew that this wasn't true, and but the police and the powers that be just made it so, like I was trying to get away with something or something. But it was just, all of it was circumstantial. There was no physical evidence whatsoever.
This past month, 2 USF students traveled to Houghton, New York for an annual conference aimed at increasing diversity on Christian campuses. For more on the story, we turn to College Week's Lexi Vogelaar.
Recently, 2 USF students, senior Kelsey Wilkie and freshman Sarah Sanarud, took a trip to Houghton, New York to attend the 2009 edition of the National Christian Multicultural Student Leadership Conference, otherwise affectionately known as Nikam Slick.
I went to the National Christian Multicultural Student Leaders Conference 2009 in Houghton, New York. Primarily talked about race and the issues we face on Christian campuses, accepting each other and diversifying.
Schools decided that they wanted a forum where students could get together to talk about multiculturalism and inclusion, particularly in a Christian context on Christian campuses.
Dr. Bill Lowen, a social work professor here at USF, says that Nikam Slick is a yearly conference that is held at a college nationwide. This year's conference was held in Houghton, New York, but there are rumors abound in Sioux Falls that USF may be interested in hosting this conference in 3 or 4 years' time.
One of the school's strategic plans is to work on diversity, be more inclusive. To actually host the conference, USF would need to submit a proposal to the board of Nikam Slick. To me, it probably needs to be a conversation between the students, student senate, and administration.
If USF would be fortunate enough to host a conference like this, Dr. Lowen says there are many positives that can come out of an event like this.
This would be an opportunity for us to discover ways which we may not be inclusive to students who are not white, and to begin discussing those and exploring those. What does it mean to be inclusive?
I think it's doable, and I think maybe it'd help us expand on what we think about like minorities and stuff like that.
In the meantime, it helps to look at what other schools like USF have done to promote an inclusive community, something students from other schools shared with Wilkie at the conference.
Some things they did were like a privilege walk, diversity line, a unity week on campus, so celebrate everybody.
For USF College Week, I'm Lexi Vogelaar.
Shortages of the H1N1 vaccine have been reported across the country. With college-age students being one of the highest risk groups, getting vaccinated has become a top priority across campus. USF, in collaboration with Sanford Health, provided 500 H1N1 vaccines to students this past Thursday. Free vaccines were provided to students under the age of 24, along with those who have medical conditions, in hopes of preventing sickness among students on campus.
USF's mediation team, consisting of Kristen Mallory, John Haynes, and Michael Westerberg, competed November 6th and 7th at the National Mediation Tournament in Chicago. This was only USF's second time participating, but the Cougars finished strong, placing 5th out of 36 teams. The advocate-client team consisted of Mallory and Haynes, who made the final round, placing 4th, and were awarded All-American status in their divisions. The team is now preparing to attend the National Mock Trial Tournament in April 2010. There are still 3 spots available on the team, so if you wish to join, contact Mike Thompson through campus email. Coming up after the break, see how the theater department is bringing Broadway to Sioux Falls. We'll be right back. Students put away their textbooks for a night to gather at the Java City stage to hear the music of past and present USF students Adam Seif and Aubrey Bowl. For more on the story, here's College Week's Robert Bartell.
The musical stylings of Scarlet Letter and Seif Style packed the student union last week. Adam Seif is a graduate of USF, and Seif says that music has been part of his life for a long time.
I've been having music in my bones since I was a little tyke, doing hip-hop music. Been dancing, never really thought I'd start doing it. Some of the rhymes I've been writing even when I went to school here, and did a song called Call to Follow. That's my first song, and I did that when I was a sophomore in college. So I wrote it in Burgess Hall in the dorm late at night, 4 in the morning.
Seif has recently put out an album full of original songs that Seif says he hopes gives glory to God.
I hope, and I've already seen people, it's affected them in positive ways. I try to team up with the under and the low, the forgotten about, and I try to get them my music for free and just try to bless them in that way. But as far as being some sort of star, that's not what my aim. I'm trying to make Jesus famous, and I guess, I mean, it's kind of cliche, but if one person's changed because of it, then it did something, and if one person's inspired, then it did something.
USF sophomore Aubrey Bowl is a lead singer for Scarlet Letter, who opened for Seif Style. Bowl says that her band's focus is to reach people in the community.
We really want to do it as a ministry, really like as an outreach. I write my own music in that hopes that I can reach the community, young generations in particular, and to make a difference, and to really just pursue like what I want to do, and make sure that like I'm doing it for God. And we all are very strong in that, with like how we're all, none of it, we give all the glory to God, so none of it is for us. So it's, yeah.
Amanda Ryerholm has been a follower of Seif Style since his CD release. She says that she feels Seif is making music for the right reasons.
It's really fun and upbeat, and he has a really good message along with it, and I think what he's doing is really cool. So it really gets kids interested. It's fun hip-hop music. So, and you can tell he has a lot of fun doing it. So it's nice to see that.
Seif encourages students to find their calling.
Find your gifting. It's all right if you don't know what your calling in life is. That's all right. Find that thing that God's wired you to do, and do it for Him. Seek Him in your life, and He'll take care of the rest.
For USF College Week, I'm Robert Bartell.
The curtains have closed on one USF theater production, but rehearsals for the next show are already underway. With more on the story, here is Cameron Keys.
Broadway. It's a stage every theater major dreams of performing on and every theater supporter dreams of visiting. While the Meredith Auditorium may not be nearly as famous as a big stage in New York, students and faculty at USF are getting the opportunity to perform some of their favorite Broadway tunes in the upcoming show, Broadway and Beyond. Director Kim Barling says where she got her inspiration for the show.
We get together each spring and talk about what musicals we'd like to do. Upperclassmen get to bring to the table what musicals that they're interested. And we had everything from Sweeney Todd to Cinderella, which finally won out. So I suggested, how about we make everybody happy and we'll do somewhat of a variety show with Broadway tunes. And that's where it came from.
Freshman Alyssa Young says that she felt some hesitation while considering participating in Broadway and Beyond.
I actually didn't want to do it at first, and then I came to the company call, and they were looking at different videos for it, and they pulled me in.
Broadway and Beyond is unique from other musicals done by the university. Barling explains what sets it apart from other shows.
Well, we're doing it in under 2 weeks, so that's probably a big one. And also the fact that a lot of our students, especially the theater majors, have in their back pocket songs that they're ready to audition with at any time, or actually a wish list of songs that they would like to perform but we can't do, like Spring Awakening or shows like that, that either they're not available because of professional rights or maybe because of the mission of the university. So we might pick one song out of that so we can share that with universities.
Students involved in the show are diligently working to bring it to an open in 2 weeks' time. With all this hard work, Barling encourages everyone to come and enjoy an hour of music.
Oh, please come. It's going to be just a celebration of, again, all of our students on our campus, all different majors, all different age groups, as well as faculty. Just come and during this time when things are starting to get stressful on campus, come and let us sing your woes away.
For College Week, I'm Cameron Keys.
Broadway and Beyond will open on November 18th and runs through the 23rd. For more information on the show or ticket prices, check your campus email or call the USF box office at 331-6787.
As the nice weather holds out for a little bit longer, college students are looking for places to enjoy their time outside. For more on the story, here's College Week's Adam Verink.
With autumn in the air and leaves falling, people relax and slow down, much like the economy. But according to District Park Supervisor Marty DeWitt, state parks have had record numbers this year.
Well, contrary to what a lot of predictions were, the economic times really didn't impact our visitation at the parks. For quite the opposite, we had a record year. Visitations were very strong. Camper numbers were higher than ever. I think people discovered that in these times of economic trials, parks are a cheap alternative to outdoor recreation. And so they came out in record numbers, and many people from right within our local communities discovered the parks for the very first time.
Although both young and old alike participate in rock climbing, DeWitt says that there is a high percentage that are college-aged. One of those college-aged climbers, Sam Nikolai, explains what ideal rock climbing weather is.
The ideal weather is anywhere from 45 to 55 degrees and sunny, just because the rubber that they use for rock climbing shoes is tackiest at that temperature. So
Precautions are taken by both the park and climbers themselves. DeWitt says the park makes some restrictions, but safety measures are ultimately in the hands of the climbers.
We did put together a brochure, and it talks about more safety and etiquette types of things. We encourage all the people that do climb here to get a copy of this. There's some good information about where to go, what not to do, like putting your ropes across hiking trails and creating hazards for other park users and that type of thing.
I try to mentally prepare, and I also try to just be as safe as possible. I mean, rock climbing is inherently dangerous, and everything you buy will say that on it. Just trying to use 3 points of protection so that if one fails, you always have a backup, and just being safe.
Nikolai recommends that everybody, not just college-aged, get involved with the sport of rock climbing.
I would recommend rock climbing not only to college-age students, but to anyone. It's a wonderful way to, get in touch with nature, and just an awesome exercise as well.
For College Week, I'm Adam Verink.
Coming up next on Crosstalk, Lavelle Jackson visits with Student Activities Coordinator Alex Heinert. We'll be right back.
Good morning and welcome to Crosstalk. I'm your host, Lavelle Jackson. Today I am sitting here with Alex Heinert, Student Activities Coordinator. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing good, Lavelle. Doing good.
I thank you for being here. Just jump right into it. Now, Student Activities Coordinator, give me a detailed description about what it is that you do.
Okay, a detailed description. Mainly as a Student Activities Coordinator, my job is to come up with events and ideas for our students on campus. I lead a small team of students, and we just figure out things to do. That's pretty much it. We've planned things, and then we do things, Lavelle. That's how it works out.
So you have a lot of interaction with the students. Now, does the student have a lot of input on actually what it is you do, or do you, obviously you have the final say of what it is that you want to get accomplished, but how much input does the student have?
A lot. I mean, that's one of the things. We've got a really good activities team. I've got 5 people between Morgan Caselli and Zara Cackett and Jackie Emanuel, and then Corbin Plooster and Rachel Dewey all are my people, and they come up with ideas. Sometimes I come up with some too, but for the most part, if they've got a great idea to do, I mean, we're going to use that idea.
Now, what about students outside of your group? Yeah. Do they have any input on what it is that needs to be done here?
We've had a lot of people come up and have suggestions. Some feasible, some not so good, and stuff. But yeah, absolutely, we're always open. If kids have a good idea.
Give me an example of some that were not so good.
Were not so good, man.
Not so good.
Let's think. Some that were not so good. We had some talk about getting a group to go to Gary's gun shop a couple weeks ago and having a firing range thing.
Yeah, that wouldn't be.
I mean, it's not a bad idea because it's a safe environment. Maybe not something we could do, from a university to promote that. But we've had something like we had somebody come up with an idea for a left-handed awareness week in which you righties and lefties do games against each other. Those kind of like that'd be fun. So we have some good. There's some good and some bad.
Left-handed awareness week. Now you're a former student here at USF. Does that help you in any way dictate what it is that you're going to do?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like knowing, being pretty recently removed from the student life, like I kind of understand what works and what doesn't. A lot of the things that I did or that we did as a student body when I was in school, I remember what things were effective and what things were a lot of fun and then what things just failed. And so having that kind of experience and having a good feel on the pulse of the student body, I think that helps a lot. Yeah.
Now, getting back to your interaction with students, along with being the student activities coordinator, you're also a resident director at Burgess Hall.
That's correct, yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Being in Burgess Hall, has been great. It's my second year as a residence director on campus, and so in coordination with being an activities coordinator, it's great because you get that much more personal interaction with those guys, and so it's a lot easier to get kids to come out to activities when you've already got a good working relationship with those guys.
Now, were you the residence director at Burgess Hall?
I was in Patterson. I was in Patterson last year. Yep, Patterson last year, Burgess this year.
What's the difference between Patterson and Burgess?
Well, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, Patterson's an upperclassman married dorm, and so we had 52 students, some married, mostly upperclassmen, and to switch from that to 108 freshman guys, I mean, it's a pretty big difference.
Yeah, that's a pretty big jump right there. I mean, like, obviously, is there some type of maturity level that goes along with that?
Yeah, I mean, if you've got a married couple that are both fifth-year seniors compared to an 18-year-old freshman, exactly. From wherever, it's a big difference. But we've seen, though, I had kids last year that weren't very mature, and I've got some this year that are really mature. So it just depends on the student.
Now, you're student activities coordinator, residence director, and you also commentate on sporting events. You wear a lot of hats, man. I mean, let's not be modest here. You're a pretty big deal on this campus.
It's pretty manly, we do a lot of different stuff, but it's fun. I mean, I have a lot of different things that I like to do, and so it's nice that I have, 3 or 4 different jobs that let me do that. So it works out well.
Which one would you say is your best? Do you like the best?
I really enjoy.
Be honest.
Be honest. You know what? I mean. On a day-to-day basis, I like doing, student activities is a lot of fun. I really enjoy that. But, I'm not going to knock, working in the residence halls. So that's been a great experience to get to have that kind of one-on-one interaction with guys. And then either doing commentary or doing public address announcing. Those are really fun, too. I like doing those things every once in a while. So I think, it's a good balance. I enjoy them all.
Now.
That was a cop-out, but, yeah.
Yeah, it was. Okay, you're an alum of College Week.
Okay.
Now, what made you go in that direction, being a students activities director, than being in the media?
I think one thing I realized about the media was, first of all, I couldn't get a job. That hurt a little bit. Right out of college, it was really tough to find. I wanted to work in radio, and there weren't a lot of openings at that time. So I got some part-time work, but doing residence life, I was an RD in college, and I enjoyed it a lot. And so when that opportunity came up to have those kind of, interactions, it seemed like a good fit. So and it's been a good fit.
Thank you, Alex, for joining me. Coming up next is Michelle Jacobs with sports. Thank you, guys. Have a good morning.
And now it's time for sports with College Week sports reporter Michelle Jacobs.
So Michelle, Cougar men's basketball off to a pretty good start.
Yeah, hopefully they'll keep going and working on their game and everything. This past weekend, the University of Sioux Falls football team defeated Dordt College with a score of 58-0. In what was another dominating performance by the Cougars, they scored within the first 12 seconds of the game as junior linebacker Steve Kalla scored on a recovered fumble. With a botched extra point attempt, USF led 6-0. Senior quarterback Lorenzo Brown would have only 3 touchdown passes in the contest, all in the second quarter, one to Brad Thielen and the other 2 to John Ryan. 2 more touchdowns would be added by senior Ryan Lowmiller and another one on a great punt return by Lavelle Jackson as he ran for 69 yards to the end zone. The final 2 points would be added by kicker Braden Winking and Christian Porter. The final regular season game for the Cougars will be today against the Mustangs of Morningside College in Sioux City, Iowa at 1 p.m. In other sports news, in a tough battle, the University of Sioux Falls men's basketball team held on to defeat NCAA Division II University of Minnesota Crookston 68-67 Tuesday night. The Cougars were led by 4 double-figure players, including senior Thomas Sprames, who had a team high of 16 points, followed closely by Matt Malloy, Cedric Seafelt and Deshaun Howard. During the first half, neither team had a lead bigger than 6 points, but a late surge gave USF a 40-37 halftime advantage. In the final 5 minutes, UMC chipped away at the deficit as USF went scoreless in the final 2 minutes and 59 seconds of the game. The Cougars' defense came up huge as Frames made a critical block on a Demarius Cruz layup attempt. The final shot by Cruz missed wide at the buzzer, giving the Cougars their third straight win. The Cougar men are currently participating in the Pizza Ranch Classic in Orange City, Iowa, which will continue this afternoon as they take on Grace University at 12 p.m. And that's sports for the day.
Hey, thanks, Michelle.
Thank you.
College Week's resident movie critics Ronnie Hawkins and Tyler Hitchcock review The Fourth Kind.
Hi, and welcome to College Week Movie Moment. I'm Ronnie Hawkins.
And I'm Tyler Hitchcock.
And today we are reviewing The Fourth Kind.
The Fourth Kind stars Milla Jovovich and Will Patton.
It's rated PG-13 for some violent and graphic images, brief sexuality and terror, and thematic elements.
So the movie starts out with Milla Jovovich's character and the audio going, and she's a psychologist, and her husband has died somehow. We're not exactly told how. There's theories on how, but we're not told how. And it goes on, and she realized that there's this weird occurrence with some sleeping habits of some of the people in Nome, Alaska. They begin to worsen, and things happen. People die, people get scared, and she begins to have theories of alien abductions. This movie has a lot of real footage, which you don't see in like any movies these days, which is something really unique to it. And at times it's side by side, the real footage and then the footage that they made in the studio. And it's very, very interesting. In the end, there's interviews with like the actual real person that Milla Jovovich's character is portraying.
So basically The Fourth Kind was a pretty good movie off the bat. It was more freaky than it was scary. I came into the movie, I guess, thinking it would be a little bit more scary than it would be freaky, but it ended up not being very scary at all, just more freaky. It had some really good, consistent suspense again. It's another one of those movies where the whole time you're like, oh, what's going to happen next, you know? And you're trying to think like, oh, I think this is going to happen, and then you're just shattered when it doesn't. Anyways, the characters were pretty believable. The actors did a pretty good job. And altogether, the plot was put together really well. And if you're more of a freaky kind of movie lover, then it's definitely something you want to go check out. All right, Tyler, so what's the verdict?
I really like this movie. I thought it was really good. You know, it's not one of those movies that I normally would go see, but I heard that it had actual footage, so I really actually did want to see this. And I thought they meshed it together real beautifully with the real stuff and like the stuff they made up. So overall, I give it 4.5 out of 5.
4.5 stars.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah. I agree with you. Said it was a really good, well put together movie, but it's just not a movie I would go see. Like if I were choosing it, I guess it's not my cup of tea, you know. So I did like it. Like if you're into freaky movies, then go see this because this is gonna match you perfectly. Yeah. So I gave it 3.5 stars, but I thought the action and the plot were really good, and I thought the characters were represented all right. So,
all right.
Yeah. So, if you're into freaky movies, check it out.
Or if you're not really, you just want to learn more about aliens.
Boom. There you go.
Boom.
All right. Well, back to you guys in the studio.
And that wraps up another edition of USF College Week. I'm Erin Heinert.
And I'm Stephanie Chmielewski. Thanks for joining us.